Financial independence, building security for your solo life. Understanding financial independence, the key to empowerment, defining financial independence. Among households with a retirement account, single female households hold only 44% of the retirement assets of married households, according to a U.S. Department of Labor analysis of Survey of Consumer Finance's data, U.S. Department of Labor, 2021. That gap isn't about earning less. Single women often make comparable incomes. It's about carrying double the household costs alone while navigating financial systems built around two income assumptions. Financial independence means controlling your own choices, not just accumulating a certain balance. It's the ability to weather a job loss without panic. It's saying no to work that drains you because you've built a cushion. It's booking that trip to Portugal without asking permission or justifying the expense to anyone. Most definitions of financial independence focus on numbers. 6 months of expenses saved, debt paid off, retirement accounts funded. Those metrics matter, but they miss something essential. Real financial security for single people operates differently than it does for couples who can split emergencies, share insurance, and fall back on a second income when crisis hits. The married couple next door might feel secure with 3 months of savings because they have built-in redundancy. You need a different calculation entirely. Your car breaks down, you're covering it. Your aging parent needs help, you're managing both the emotional labor and the financial burden. There's no partner to pick up slack when you're sick or between jobs. This isn't about pessimism, it's about designing systems that actually fit your reality. Financial independence for singles requires acknowledging that you're both the safety net and the tightrope walker. That dual role demands more than following generic advice about saving 15% or retiring at 65. The freedom that comes from genuine financial security transforms everything. It turns singleness from a vulnerable position into an empowered choice. The impact on personal happiness. Financial stress doesn't just make you anxious about money, it rewires how your brain processes threats. Research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that financial insecurity actually reduces cognitive bandwidth, the mental capacity available for decision-making and problem-solving. Manny, 2015. When you're worried about making rent or covering an unexpected medical bill, your brain treats it like a physical threat, flooding your system with cortisol and narrowing your focus to immediate survival. That's the opposite of the expansive thinking needed to build a life you actually want. A 2018 study from Purdue University analyzed Gallup World Poll data from 1.7 million people across 164 countries and found that emotional well-being rises with income up to a specific threshold, roughly $60,000 to $75,000 annually in the United States, adjusted for cost of living, Jeb et al., 2018. Beyond that point, additional money contributes less to day-to-day happiness. But here's what matters for single people. Reaching that threshold of financial security dramatically improves mental health, life satisfaction, and sense of control. The difference isn't between comfortable and wealthy. It's between precarious and stable. This shift from precarity to stability is often described as a profound psychological liberation. Rather than feeling trapped by immediate financial concerns, people gain the cognitive space to envision and pursue long-term goals. Many report that achieving a solid financial buffer allows them to pursue career changes that might initially involve less income, but align better with their values. Transitioning from a demanding corporate role to starting a small business or working in a nonprofit. Others find the freedom to relocate to a city offering a better quality of life, or to invest in further education without the paralyzing fear of unexpected expenses derailing their progress. Financial independence creates space for actual choice, not just in emergencies, but in the daily architecture of your life. Steps to achieve financial empowerment. Living without a financial partner means confronting a distinct set of challenges that couples rarely face. You can't split the rent, you can't lean on someone else's health insurance during a job transition. When the car breaks down or the furnace fails, there's no shared emergency fund to cushion the blow. Single people carry 100% of their financial risk, yet societal structures, tax codes, insurance premiums, even mortgage qualification criteria were designed with dual incomes in mind. The numbers tell a sobering story. A 2020 analysis by the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, using data up to 2016, found that the median wealth for single individuals was roughly 23% of that for married couples. But here's what that statistic doesn't capture. Singles don't have half the expenses of a couple. They often have closer to 70% or 80%. Housing, utilities, and insurance don't magically have when you're on your own. This creates a wealth building gap that compounds over time, making strategic financial planning not just helpful, but essential. Yet within these constraints lies tremendous opportunity. When you build your financial foundation solo, every dollar you save is yours. Every investment decision aligns with your values alone. You're not negotiating retirement timelines or compromising on risk tolerance. Your financial independence becomes the cornerstone of your autonomy, allowing you to design a life that reflects your priorities without apology. The single life after 40 demands financial literacy and intentionality, yes, but it also offers the freedom to craft a security plan that's uniquely, unapologetically yours. Practical strategies for building your financial foundation. Budgeting for single success. Budgeting for singles over 40 isn't about restriction. It's about designing a system that reflects what you actually value while building the cushion that creates real freedom. Traditional budgeting advice often assumes two incomes absorbing shocks. But when you're solo, every dollar needs a clearer purpose. Start with what financial planners call zero-based budgeting, where every dollar of income gets assigned before the month begins. This doesn't mean spending everything. It means deciding in advance where money goes, including to savings, investments, or an emergency fund. You're allocating intentionally rather than letting money disappear into vague categories. For someone earning $4,500 monthly after taxes, this might mean $1,350 to housing, $600 to groceries and essentials, $450 to transportation, $900 to retirement and emergency savings, $300 to insurance, and $900 to discretionary spending and irregular expenses. The discretionary category matters more than most budget templates suggest. You're not splitting restaurant bills or vacations. Solo travel costs more per person. Dinner out means the full check. But if travel feeds your sense of purpose, budget generously for it while trimming elsewhere, not because you should, but because your money should fund your actual life, not some theoretical balanced version. Irregular expenses wreck more budgets than daily spending. Car insurance billed semi-annually, annual membership renewals, holiday gifts, veterinary care. These aren't emergencies. They're predictable costs that arrive unevenly. Calculate your annual irregular expenses, divide by 12, and set that amount aside monthly into a separate account. When the $650 car insurance bill arrives in June, you're not scrambling or raiding savings meant for job loss. Emergency funds for singles need to be larger, often recommended at 6 to 12 months of essential expenses, rather than the 3 to 6 months couples can sometimes manage. You can't rely on a partner's income during illness or layoffs. This fund isn't pessimism. It's the foundation that lets you walk away from toxic jobs, recover from setbacks, and sleep soundly. Build it gradually, but build it deliberately. Her Money 2025. Your budget should feel like architecture, structured enough to stand firm, flexible enough to accommodate life's unpredictability. Smart saving strategies. Margaret built her emergency fund backward. At 43, working as a senior graphic designer in Portland, she'd watched her savings account hover around $2,800 for years. Enough to feel slightly secure, not enough to weather actual trouble. Then her agency lost its largest client, and suddenly she faced a choice between accepting a brutal commute to keep her role or taking severance. She took the money but spent the next 4 months in what she describes as financial freefall, burning through savings while sending out applications. What changed wasn't her income when she landed her next position. It was her conviction that she'd never feel that vulnerable again. She started by calculating her true baseline: rent, utilities, minimum groceries, insurance, loan payments. Not her full monthly budget with streaming services and gym memberships and weekend brunches, but the rock bottom number she needed to survive 3 months without income. That figure, $4,200, became her first target. She opened a separate high-yield savings account, automated $175 weekly transfers, and treated those deposits like non-negotiable bills. Within 6 months, she had her cushion. Emergency funds work differently when you're single. There's no partner's income to fall back on, no second salary to cover the mortgage if you lose your job or face a medical crisis. This reality demands a more robust safety net than conventional wisdom suggests. Financial advisors traditionally recommend 3 to 6 months of expenses. Fidelity Investments, 2025. For singles over 40, I suggest aiming for 6 to 9 months. Yes, it's more aggressive. It also reflects your actual risk profile. You're not being pessimistic, you're being realistic about the fact that you're your only financial backup system. Build your fund in stages. 3 months first, then 6, then 9. Each milestone reduces anxiety and expands your capacity to make bold choices. Whether that's changing careers, relocating, or simply saying no to work that drains you. Retirement planning follows similar logic. Without a partner to share expenses in your 70s and 80s, you need to fund your entire future solo. The math isn't scary, it just requires attention now. Start by maximizing employer matches if you have access to a 401k. That's free money you can't afford to leave on the table. If you're self-employed or your employer doesn't offer retirement benefits, open a Roth IRA or traditional IRA and commit to consistent contributions even if you start small. The real power lies in compound interest and time. A 40-year-old who invests $500 monthly with a 7% average return will have over $500,000 by age 65. Wait until 50 to start, and that same contribution yields roughly $250,000. The gap is the cost of delay, and it's enormous. Beyond the mechanics, retirement planning for singles means designing a future that excites you. What does your ideal day look like at 70? Where do you want to live? What hobbies, travel, or community involvement matter most? Your financial planning should fund that vision, not some generic retired person template. Work backward from your dream to determine how much you need. Then build your savings strategy around that number. Financial resilience isn't about deprivation or fear. It's about creating the conditions for freedom, the ability to weather setbacks without panic, to make choices aligned with your values, and to build a future that's entirely, unapologetically yours. Investing with confidence. Investing feels intimidating to many singles over 40, particularly women who came of age when financial advice was often directed at men or married couples. But avoiding investment markets because they seem complex is one of the costliest mistakes you can make. Inflation erodes the purchasing power of cash sitting in savings accounts. Money that feels safe is actually losing value every year. With the Federal Reserve targeting an average annual inflation rate of 2%, cash held in a savings account could see its purchasing power erode significantly over time, making it harder to maintain your lifestyle in retirement. Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, 2024. Start with understanding your risk tolerance, which isn't about your personality but about your timeline and financial cushion. If you're 42 and won't need your retirement funds for 23 years, you can weather market volatility. Short-term dips matter less than long-term growth. But if you're planning to use investment income within 5 years, you need more conservative positions. Risk tolerance also depends on your emergency fund. If you've built 6 to 9 months of expenses in liquid savings, you can afford to invest more aggressively because you won't need to sell stocks during a downturn to cover rent. The simplest starting point is low-cost index funds. These funds track entire market segments, the S&P 500, total stock market, international markets, rather than betting on individual companies. Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab all offer index funds with expense ratios well below 0.1%. With many popular options like Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, VOO, at just 0.03%, meaning fees won't quietly drain your returns over decades. A basic 3-fund portfolio, domestic stocks, international stocks, and bonds, provides instant diversification without requiring you to become a day trader. Vanguard, 2024. Bonds and bond funds deserve attention as you age. They're less exciting than stocks, but provide stability. A common guideline suggests holding your age in bonds. So at 45, roughly 45% bonds and 55% stocks. This isn't gospel, but it offers a starting framework. The most dangerous trap is letting market anxiety drive poor timing. Selling investments during downturns locks in losses. Waiting for the right moment to invest often means missing years of growth. The most effective strategy is consistent contribution regardless of market conditions. A practice called dollar-cost averaging that removes emotion from the equation. Investment apps and robo-advisors like Betterment or Wealthfront can automate portfolio management for modest fees. rebalancing assets, and optimizing tax efficiency. They're not essential, but they remove friction if analysis paralysis keeps you from starting. What matters most isn't perfect optimization. It's beginning now, contributing regularly, and allowing time to work in your favor. Maximizing income potential. Increasing your income doesn't require abandoning your current job overnight. It starts with an honest assessment of where you stand now and what levers you can realistically pull. Look first at your existing role. When did you last negotiate your salary? Many individuals, particularly women, hesitate to advocate for raises. Yet a 2021 Salary.com survey found that 84% of employees who negotiated their salary received a higher offer. Prepare by documenting your contributions, specific projects completed, revenue generated, processes improved, and research comparable salaries on sites like Glassdoor or PayScale. Timing matters. Schedule the conversation after a notable success, during performance reviews, or when your company's budget cycle begins. If your current employer can't or won't budge, you've gathered valuable data about whether it's time to explore external opportunities where your skills command higher compensation. Side income streams offer a second pathway, though they demand realism about your capacity. You're not looking to hustle yourself into burnout. You're strategically leveraging existing skills or interests for supplemental revenue. A copywriter might take freelance projects on weekends. Someone with design skills could sell templates on Etsy or Creative Market. A teacher could tutor online during evenings. The key is matching side work to skills you already possess rather than chasing trendy opportunities that require steep learning curves. Platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, or TaskRabbit reduce the friction of finding clients, though they take a percentage of earnings. Calculate whether the convenience justifies the cost. Passive income sounds appealing but rarely materializes without significant upfront effort or capital. Rental property income requires down payments, maintenance, and tenant management. Hardly passive. Dividend-paying stocks provide genuine passive income, but need substantial investment to generate meaningful returns. A portfolio yielding 3% annually requires roughly $100,000 invested to produce $3,000 yearly. Helpful, but not life-changing for most. Focus instead on what you can control immediately, negotiating your current compensation, identifying one marketable skill you can monetize within 3 months, and directing any additional income straight into your emergency fund or retirement accounts. Small increases compound. An extra $300 monthly from a modest raise or weekend freelancing adds $3,600 annually, which invested at a conservative 7% return can grow to approximately $50,000 in 10 years. That's not abstract financial theory. That's real security you're building for your solo life, one deliberate decision at a time. Personalized financial planning, designing your secure future, assessing your financial landscape. Start with a blank document, not mental planning, actual blank space you'll fill with numbers. Label 3 columns: what I own, what I owe, what comes in. This isn't aspirational. Write your actual checking account balance, not what it should be after you stop ordering takeout. List every asset: savings accounts, retirement balances, investment accounts, the value of your car if you own it outright. Then debts: credit card balances with their interest rates, student loans, car payments, any personal loans. Finally, income: your net monthly pay, freelance earnings if consistent, rental income if applicable. Include the side gig you do sporadically only if it's averaged at least 3 months. Now track spending for 30 days without changing behavior. Every coffee, streaming service, impulse bookstore trip, pharmacy run. Use an app like Mint or YNAB or carry a small notebook. The method matters less than capturing reality rather than your imagined spending patterns. Research consistently shows that individuals frequently underestimate their discretionary spending when relying on memory or estimates. Godwin, 2011. After 30 days, categorize everything: housing, utilities, transportation, food, insurance, debt payments, entertainment, personal care, irregular expenses. Calculate what percentage of income each category consumes. If housing exceeds 35% of net income, you're stretched thin. That's not judgment, just mathematical vulnerability for a single income household. CFPB 2015. Set one financial goal that makes your stomach flutter slightly. Pay off a specific credit card in 8 months. Build a $3,000 starter emergency fund by year end. Increase retirement contributions by 2%. Write the exact target amount and deadline. Now identify one obstacle preventing that goal and one concrete action to address it. If the obstacle is, I don't know where money goes, the action is, review spending every Sunday for 6 weeks. If its retirement contributions feel impossible, the action is, calculate what 1% more would cost monthly and find that amount in current spending. Complete this exercise on paper or screen within the next 72 hours. Financial clarity doesn't emerge from thinking harder. It comes from looking directly at numbers you've been avoiding. Tailoring investment strategies. Financial planning stalls most often not from lack of knowledge, but from waiting for perfection. You've reviewed your numbers. You've identified the goal. Now the voice arrives. I should learn more first. I need a better month. I'll start after the holiday expenses clear. Start anyway. Open the retirement account with whatever feels manageable. $50 monthly matters more than $500 you'll never actually transfer. Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab all allow account opening in under 20 minutes. Choose a target date fund matching your approximate retirement year if individual fund selection feels paralyzing. These funds automatically adjust risk as you age, handling the complexity you're not ready to tackle yet. Diversification sounds intimidating until you realize it's just spreading your eggs across multiple baskets. A target date fund does this automatically, blending stocks, bonds, and sometimes international holdings. If you prefer more control, consider a simple 3-fund portfolio: a total stock market index, a total bond market index, and an international stock index. The ratios shift based on your risk tolerance. Someone with 25 years until retirement might hold 80% stocks, while someone 5 years out might prefer 50% bonds for stability. Market dynamics will unsettle you. Drops happen, recovery follows. The worst thing you can do is sell during a downturn, locking in losses that would otherwise recover. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. Set automatic contributions, let them run, and resist the urge to check daily fluctuations. Your investment strategy should reflect your actual life, not some idealized version. If volatility keeps you awake, choose conservative allocations. If you can weather storms, lean aggressive. There's no moral superiority in either approach, just alignment with your reality and peace of mind. Crafting a long-term financial plan. Financial planning for single life isn't about creating a rigid blueprint and sticking to it forever. Your plan must breathe, flexing and adapting as your circumstances, dreams, and priorities shift over time. What excites you today might evolve tomorrow, and your financial roadmap should accommodate that natural progression without judgment or constraint. Start by envisioning your ideal future lifestyle. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? 10? 20? Maybe you dream of traveling extensively, pursuing a creative passion, or simply enjoying the quiet comfort of a paid-off home. These aspirations form the foundation of your comprehensive plan, guiding decisions about retirement contributions, emergency reserves, and investment strategies. But here's what makes single life uniquely powerful. You answer to no one but yourself in shaping this vision. Your priorities don't require negotiation or compromise with a partner's conflicting goals. Emergency funds deserve special attention in solo financial planning. Without a second income to fall back on during unexpected crises, medical emergencies, job loss, major home repairs, your safety net becomes entirely your responsibility. Financial experts typically recommend 3 to 6 months of expenses for couples, but singles often benefit from aiming higher, perhaps 6 to 12 months. This cushion provides not just financial security, but profound peace of mind. Retirement planning takes on different dimensions when you're building toward a solo future. You're planning for one income in retirement, yes, but also one person's expenses, one person's healthcare needs, one person's housing costs. Consider both traditional retirement accounts and alternative income streams, rental properties, dividend-paying investments, or even passion projects that generate revenue. Diversification protects you from relying too heavily on any single source. Schedule quarterly financial reviews. Circumstances change. Reassess regularly, adjust boldly, and trust yourself to navigate whatever comes next.